Hi, my loves. I am so excited for today's conversation because it's going to be all about how to show up when you're going through a hard time. Something that is going on in my community, and let's just blame it on eclipse season, is a lot of my VIP clients are going through it. And it can be really, really, really hard to feel like, how do I be a leader in this space? How do I show up in my relationships? How do I show up in my friendships? I feel like I'm juggling so much. And I have felt this too. You know, we just went through two major hurricanes. I had to evacuate my home. I had no idea what I was going to come back to. My entire town is just disheveled, and it's hard to go about daily life pretending like this isn't a thing when anytime you walk outside you just see destruction. Been going through it in relationship stuff and business things. It's just things happen in our lives, and a conversation that I've been having with my clients is, how do I show up? How do I be in my power? How do I focus on my launches? How do I focus on my relationship? How do I give my all to my kids? How do I do this when I feel like I have so many tabs open? So if you are currently in that season and you're feeling like, how do I do this? How can I do this? What is there, like some hidden strategy or something like that? I'm just going to give you the bit by bit of what I've been doing and what I've been telling my clients. And so I'm happy. I'm so, so happy that you are here. It means the world to me. This podcast is a place that if I could do anything for the rest of my life, it would be this, and I probably will. It's a space where we come and we talk about what it's like to be a high performer, trying to find love, trying to keep love, trying to get love, all that kind of things, on top of how to brand and market your business in a very unique and authoritative way that applies to you and pulls out your unique genius. So we have the pre-housewife era movement that is all around this, hence soft savage. You have to learn how to be soft and the savage. And if you're new here, holy heck, I am so excited that you are here. Truly, truly, truly. My name is Laura Patricia Martin, if you didn't get that already. And I started this whole thing off the back end of trying to find my way. I had no idea, with the boatloads of trauma that I have been through, on how to, be a woman, how to run a business, how to find love, how to do this whole thing after I've been through so much trauma in my 20s. Like, it helps me now as a mentor and a consultant and a coach, however you want to spin it, because anything someone has been through, I've pretty much been through it. And it made my life beautiful and complicated all at once. And I didn't know how to open up. I didn't know how to be vulnerable. I didn't know how to walk through duality. I didn't know how to know I was worthy of love, or big enough for love, or worthy of a success. I didn't know how to build a business that wasn't based off of a trauma response. I didn't know how to be a woman. And so I'm so happy that you're here, if that's the season that you're in, especially for this podcast. I'm going to take my jacket off. So I'm looking at my reflection in it, and I just look a little small. And I don't want to do that. I'm going to an event later, and I'm like, holy pickles, this is funny. I look small. I look tiny. So anyone watching the video, nice little outfit change. But today's conversation, so when you're going through it, it can feel really hard because you're in those moments of just, I cannot focus. Right? When the hurricane started hitting, and the first one hit, and I just watched so many of my friends' homes, just everything gone, like 90% of their homes, like they just don't have it anymore. And I felt so guilty because my house was fine. And I didn't know what to do. And then the second one hit, and we evacuated, and I didn't know how to react. And I was in freeze mode because, some people fight. I freeze. I have no idea what to do. And I was in freeze mode, and I kept going through this battle inside of me of like, I don't know how to show up online. I don't know how to pretend things are okay when they are not. What is happening right now is not okay. I don't know how to show up okay when there's a lot of stress in my relationship right now. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I don't know. And so I started to do a handful of things that I want to offer to you in order to find my way. And the first one is support systems. A lot of the times, when I think back to my disorganized attachment, I hid a lot of my pain. I can think back to when I was navigating a relationship and I was trying to get off of drugs, and it was an abusive relationship, and I was trying to leave domestic violence, and I was trying to get off drugs, and I wanted to be alone in the whole process because I had so much shame around who I was at that time. And, I felt so unrelatable. I thought no one could understand my pain. I thought all this stuff. I thought, just, I have to keep this because so many people are going to judge me because the things that I'm going through, it's true. A lot of people can't relate to them. And this is when I started to understand the importance of support systems. And this is also when I found Al-Anon. And this is when I found the 12 steps. And this is when I found, AA, NA, just anything of people that understood me. And I started to look at, holy pickles. It might be dark, but it's not alone. I just had to find the right rooms to be in. And I'm not saying it has to go that way, but there's things that we grapple with, whether it's breakups, whether it's conflict in our relationships, whether it's health issues, whether it's fertility issues, whether it's financial issues, launching issues. Like there's things that we go through as leaders that oftentimes we're sitting there and it's like, if I tell someone about this, they're not going to take me seriously anymore. They're going to judge me. They're going to have this notion. They're going to realize I am not perfect. They're going to realize something about me is flawed. And so in this season, this is where mentorship for me, and I'm going to be honest with my mentor, I hadn't fully let her in on a lot of things in my life. And then she called me forward one time and she's like, you've been really quiet. What's going on? And I tried to play it off like, oh, it's fine. I'm just like in my life and like doing things, when really it was just my life was spinning really fast and I really didn't know what I was doing. And again, I didn't want to tell people. And so when I finally just came in and I was like, you know what, fuck it. I don't want to do this alone. I told my mentor. And I said, this is what I'm going through. This is what's really happening inside my mind. And she held space because that's what they're for. We're supposed to use our mentors. This is why it's so important to pick the right mentor. I picked a mentor that has trauma work in her portfolio, that is a shaman, that does breath work, and also builds funnels and does automation and runs ads. Like she's a beautiful complex. And, that's why I do what I do, why I have my trauma backgrounds, why I have so much, because humans are humans. And I think more coaches need to be more aware of the trauma side of life and what's going on so that we can support our nervous systems on this space of growth. But you have to be the person that leads yourself to these conversations. And so that's one side of things. On top of, I found my friendships. I have 2 core people that know me through and through. And they will call me out like no one's business. They will call me forward like no one's business. And they will hold space when I need it. And I trust their reflection of me because they know the raw and real version of me, not this uppity person. And so when I'm going through something, I ask, and I know my brain. I know my brain because of the extent of my past. I'd be lying if I was like, oh, it's totally gone. I trust my inner judgment when I'm being triggered. I trust all the things that are happening in my life. I trust me, and I do. But in heightened states, I need someone to go, that's not real. Here's where your power lies. Let's do this together. And they remind me of my power, and this is how I'm able to show up, because I will call them about a spiraling thought or something I'm lost in, and they remind me of who I really am. And because I know they have seen the weakest parts of me, I trust them when they tell me who I am. And from there, then I can go lead. From there, then I can show up. I can do podcasts. I can teach my clients. I can show up on lives. I can do my stuff because I'm reminded that I can hold both. I can hold the fact that things are spinning really fast. I don't know what to do. And I can shift into leadership, because at the end of the day, and I shared this on my Instagram, sure, I don't know fully how to show up right now. And it's true, I still don't. But if I'm so caught up in that, then I'm doing a disservice to the people. I'm doing a disservice to you, because you guys come to me for knowledge. You come to me for strategy. You come to me for love. You come to me for all these things. And if all of a sudden I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't know, I don't know what to do. It's this disservice. And so having the right types of people is the first one, making sure that you have your support systems in place so that you have a lifeline to either hold space or hype you up. And I don't only want this to be your friends. I want you to have mentors, whether that's me or someone else. It's like, I don't do this alone. I have business mentors. I have mindset mentors, I have relationship mentors, I have strategy mentors, I have branding mentors, I have a whole archive of people. And I have the most extraordinary friends on the planet because all of them are healers or coaches or some level of entrepreneurship. I have surrounded myself with some of the top people that I just get to call that are experts in their fields. It's extraordinary. And so they get to walk me through certain things to then help me heal. It's never what a lot of us do is like call our girlfriends to bitch. And then you keep the spiral going. You keep it alive because you're harping on the same thing over and over again. And then when you talk to them on the phone the next day, then you're re-triggered and you're re-triggered and you're re-triggered because you're just talking shit just so you can talk to be validated and heard, versus how I show up to my conversations and my support systems and show me where I'm wrong. Show me what I'm not seeing in this situation. Show me how I can speak better so I can articulate my message much more effectively, because how this is happening is just not how I want it to be. Tell me, what I need to hear, whether I like it or not, so I can rise to my power. That's who I surround myself with. And then when it comes to the strategy side of things and holding duality and doing things, that's where my business mentors come in. Hey, how do I do this? How do I show up? Where's the vulnerability? Where's the trauma spilling? How do I do these things? And they remind me of how this works. And it's a huge difference between, are you just looking to be validated and seen because you want to keep the cycle alive and the drama? Or are you really looking to get support to remind you of your power? Because that's how you do both. You have to lead yourself even in the pain. You get to be human, but put a time limit on it. And then show back up in the arena. Because, and this is number 2, you have to remember your why. When your why is so deep, why do you do what you do? The thing that you are grappling with, like, how do I show up again? Because something happened. I went through a divorce. I went through a breakup. Something happened. I've had this experience where I watched my entire world crumble around me, all my neighborhoods, all the things. I don't know how to show up, and I'm not even the same person anymore. So how do I show up? You remember your why. Why are you doing this in the first place? Right? You guys are my why. Your transformation, your confidence, your healing, your love stories, your finances. You're my why. I truly, truly believe everyone can be liberated and have all things, maybe not all things at once, at the same time, flooding through, but they will all happen in your lifetime. And you get to have the time of your life doing it, but you have to work like a motherfucking savage. And I can't not. I know the woman that was broken. I know the woman that's stuck in her savage. I know the woman that wants to soften and has no idea how. I know the woman that's so confused by femininity in this market because nothing feels real and she's like an imposter in this world, but she wants to be soft and she wants to feel her heart. I know that. So I have to show up for you. It would be such a disservice if I just sat and watched Netflix all day. If I just disappeared for weeks on end because I didn't know what to say. My why is far greater than any pain I have ever been through. Even when I was trying to get out of domestic violence and I started my business then, I would show up. I used my business as my lifeline. It was the thing that reminded me of my power. When I come here and I record, when I show up on my calls, I learn something and I remind myself and I see myself of what my light is, what my purpose is, what my passion is, what my reason for being on this planet is this. And so if I get too wrapped in the story inside of my head, all I have to do is click play. Oftentimes, that's actually how a lot of these podcasts come to light. I'm going through something. And I'm like, hey, here's how I'm going through it. And by the time I get done with it, I'm like, hey, that was really good. These are the things that I'm doing, and this is real. This is alive. This is my heart. But this is my why. That you can do all things. And it doesn't mean you have to be high vibe and all the things. It's like, no, I can be stressed. Right now, as I'm recording this, my heart is aching. I have so many things stretching and molding and inviting me into a deeper version of myself that I am in a moment of just like, fuck this. And I can't help but click play to show you that. Because I know the lesson. I know the power. I know if I record a podcast that is just like this in the midst of me going through something, I'm sitting here going, look it, you can still show up. Here's how I am doing it. My support system's my why. and the other things that I'm going to share. But sometimes when we're stuck in this spiral, especially for people that are like me that grapple with anxiety and depression and a traumatic past, your brain is used to this loop of chaos that it can get tripped up on. And so instead of seeing your power, you see all of your weaknesses and you cave to the story. So you either want to disassociate or revert to old habits, or I don't know, you want to do other things that remind you of your weakness versus I know who the fuck I am. I'm just triggered. And my past is trying to like tell me that I'm not who this is right now in this moment. And so what are the practices? What are the things that remind you of who you are, that remind you of your passions, that remind you of your purpose, that remind you of your why? And maybe you don't have that yet, but trust me, when you figure that out, it'll be completely different. Like even when it comes to like datings and relationships, if you're going through dramatic things in that process and chaotic things, remembering your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you listen to my podcast? My guess? Because you want to be a really good fucking mother. And you want to show your kids what love is. And you want to show your future children what it's like to be emotionally safe and secure and present. And what it means to be a strong leader and a soft heart. So when you're looking at your partner, is that person modeling what you want to do? Like, what is your why? What is your why for maybe leaving a relationship? What is your why for staying in a relationship? What is your why for getting help? What is your why for getting support? Right? It's for me, I want to live the largest life I can have. I want to be the best parent I could ever freaking be on the planet. I want to be the best leader to you guys that I could ever be. That's why I continually invest hundreds of thousands of dollars to be with the best of the best, to learn from the best of the best, to heal from the best of the best, to heal with the best of the best. That's what I do because as a mother, a partner, and a leader, it's my responsibility to become the best version of myself, to look at every shadow that I could ever possibly have without getting addicted to the ties of the past, because we can do that sometimes. But actually witnessing, oh, if I'm going through a hard thing, what is this mirroring back to me of something that I haven't healed yet? Great. What types of support can I get? And can I loop that into my why? Because then I can show up powerfully. I can show up powerfully even if my heart feels weak. Even if I feel scared, even if I feel like I'm going to say the wrong thing, even if my mind is on split energy of my business and my community and my relationships and my health, like I can do all of those things because my why is far greater than my pain. Is your why greater than your pain, greater than your circumstances, greater than your past? How can you lead yourself through it with an open heart? It's not that you don't feel it and bypass it, but you don't succumb to it, right? Put makeup on, get dressed, click play. Be of service to someone else when your life is spiraling. Sometimes it's the best medicine. Go give. And then be with yourself. And then it's okay sometimes to disassociate, whether that's with work or Netflix. But remember your why. When it runs through your veins, you can't not show up for it. It's the most powerful thing on the planet. And when you have your why, number 3 is focus on what is your non-negotiables and really list that down. Like, what is the needle moving activity? What'll drive business? What'll move your health in the right direction? What helps you connect with your partner? Like, what are the bare minimum non-negotiables? And do that, nothing more, nothing less. Right? I know for me, my health is key. No matter what the fuck I'm going through, my health is always it. My number 1 pillar. And then when I'm looking at what actually propels my business forward, is my marketing mainly on my stories. So it's the one thing I have to show for email marketing. Yes, that's already in funnels. That's already in place. That's already the stuff. But like anything new, I don't need to do that right now. That's it. My new idea generator doesn't need to fucking happen right now. As much as like I want to, because I know I want to escape pain. You have to be able to sit in the moment and be like, okay, I really don't need to do that because I do have to make space for my pain so it doesn't actually get trapped in my pain body. And I can actually somatically move through things. But I do need to do things because I'm a goddamn adult. What are the things you have to do? You can't just stonewall yourself or gaslight yourself or do all the things humans love to do to avoid. Or you can't hyperfill yourself and all the kind of things so you don't actually have to feel. Or you can't like, you sit here, we get in a deer in headlights when things are going on. And so you put so much on your plate that you're feeling so much inside yourself because your life is spinning. And then you put so much on your plate that you're just a deer in headlights and you're like, I don't know what my next right move is and how to show up. What are the 3 things that actually move you and your work and your mission forward. For me, it's gym. For me, it's marketing on my stories. For me, it's showing up for my calls and my clients. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. Content might get dropped. That's okay. To be honest, I have funnels in place that support that. I have so much content jam-packed that oftentimes I don't miss it. It just doesn't have the energetic alignment that I would like. But it's done. And it's out there. And it's great. It's not the highest quality, but I can let myself slide because majority of the time, 98% of the time, I have high quality content. So it doesn't matter the 2% that sometimes I fail on because my brain's not there. Selling on my stories, it's the easiest thing because I don't have to be on my stories. It's my daily storefront. I'm an entrepreneur. My store is open. I don't care what I'm feeling. I'm going to post on my stories. I'm going to write down the things. Quick, post. Again, is it perfect? Does it have the energetic alignment? Is it front to camera? Does it sell in the way that I want it to? Probably not. But I hold myself to a certain standard that my storefront is open every single day. And you will know it. You will know it. And then health. I know one too many humans that when things are going on, they either overeat, undereat, overexercise, underexercise. Do the things. My thing is, you're already stuck in fight or flight with whatever is going on in your body. Go on a walk. Minimum. Stretch. Minimum. Lift weights. Move the energy. Somatically move this. If you give up on yourself, like nothing feels better than after a workout when you're going through something. You're high on testosterone. You're like, I can do anything, and it helps you process things. The times that I have been at the gym and I have just sobbed, I have done that so many times. I don't care what I look like. I don't care what's happening. Like what, I'm just letting it go because that's my body. My body needs to release. And when I'm lifting up weights and I'm moving and I'm doing things, my body is releasing. I can't just process through my mind. You have to process through your body. What does that look like for you? Is that dance? Is that yoga? Is that walking? Like go outside, move, feel things. Those are mine. What are yours? What actually is going to help you move through this? Because a lot of you can get stuck in the story versus the solution. You're trying to figure out why it happened. What is the actual solution? The solution always is how do you get back into your power? Always. You can't make any other logical decisions until you're back in your power. So what are the 3 non-negotiables that make you feel more in your power, that get you back? For me, health. For me, sales. Like, oh, it is. So what am I going to do in order to get that going? My community. That's it. So what are your 3 non-negotiables? Write those down. And are they done every single day? The 4th one, patience and grace. And I say this because a lot of us, especially as high performers, we are bulldozers. We love to go full steam ahead. And it's really, 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 really frustrating when you're going through something, whether it's good or bad. Like even in a new relationship, I could not focus on shit. Like I was just like, my brain's not fucking working. I don't know what's going on. You guys have heard me talk about that. It's your prefrontal cortex is not online. When you are overstimulated and highly stimulated, your prefrontal cortex is not online. So you're not going to be able to really do the things that you did when you were regulated. It's okay. Again, giving yourself these 3 non-negotiables, let that be enough. Let that be enough for a time period. Don't do that always, but let that be enough so that when you're moving across this, it's like, okay, at least I got that done today. Like as simple as this is, when I was going through recovery years ago, I was like, as long as I make my bed today, I am good. And I have made my bed every day since because that was my win for the day. If I could do that, what was my win? Because I knew nothing in my life, nothing in my brain, nothing in my body, as much as I wanted it to work, it's not gonna work. It wasn't working. And so when I look at certain things and I know handling this stuff, it's like, where is your self-leadership? How can you lead what would you tell your child? Because that's the pain body that you're in now when you're going through something and you're struggling to show up and you're in these moments. What would you tell your child? Would you tell them you need to fucking get it done, get your do your homework, do the things, show up fully, be happy. We don't have time for those tears. Let's go. I caught myself so many times when I've been sick. And I say this with lightness because I know a lot of the times we can use sickness as a thing, but I know you're a lot like me where your problem isn't actually getting going, it's actually stopping. And so I remember times I've been sick And it's because my mother's voice was in my damn head. And bless her soul and rest her soul. But there wasn't space for ever being sick in my family. She was a pediatric ER nurse. So like, there wasn't blood, there was no problem. And I have carried that with me into my entire life and my career, where if it's not chaotic, there doesn't need to be a break. And I've learned through these seasons that that's a very masculine, toxic masculine way, trauma mask to get through some stuff. Whereas if I can give myself grace and like know that my best work comes after this, like I create art in these things. I think of things differently. Like a lot of you guys, like you see things differently when you're going through stuff. And so using those ideas to be generated, but the execution doesn't need to be done. It doesn't need to, because that analytical brain of yours and that connected brain, your prefrontal cortex, is not online. You're in your limbic system. You are in your survival mode. Like, it's just not there. And we get so mad at ourselves for our brains not working. We're like, this is why I love understanding science, where it's like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You are in a space where it's not going to work. So let's get through the 3 non-negotiables and then give yourself grace and space to heal whatever it is you need to heal, because you are going to bounce back. You're a rubber band. But the more that you delay that, the more that you're going to break that rubber band. Right? So giving yourself peace, talking to yourself like it's your kid or your best friend, like what would you tell them? And then the last one, this leads to more of like my analytical brain of things, is when you're going through something, I cannot emphasize it enough how important it is to prep your life and your business for hard times, right? I had no idea. I built my business for motherhood and relationship. I had no idea it was going to be able to hold me through the trauma of hurricane season and conflicts in my relationship and familial things and back end things. And I had no idea, because when your brain isn't working, you can finally feel things when it's like, oh, my back end is set up and my team, all I have to do is send them some voice notes and stuff. Like, they can run things for me. Like, it's okay for me to take some space and be a little bit slower now, because my robots and my team can run things. And so funnels and delegation are really, really important in this season. And I know some of us, we don't have this in place. It's this like, oh, how do I show up? And it's like, when you have systems in place, you don't have to. This is my point. A lot of us has built our lives and our businesses on hustle culture. And it's this like, oh, but it's like, I'm a feminine leader in organic marketing and this and that and the other thing. And it's like, I just do it off my energy. And it's like, you are your sales system if it requires you to show up powerfully in high vibe. And that's not feminine. That's hustle culture. And so something that I really, really love is that I have my systems in place. Is it blast off, scaling, doing the thing, like all this stuff? No. But is it scaling slowly? Yes. Is it maintenance? Yes. And that is so fucking nourishing and safe for people like you and me that have probably not had safety in their entire life to actually feel their emotions. Funnels allow that. It's the most feminine thing, because now you don't have to show up fully. You can put some little text on a screen. You can put comment here. Robots run the whole thing. I cannot emphasize it enough. If we haven't thought of this, it's like, what happens when you're not high vibe, when you're going through something in your relationship, when you're being stretched, when family things come up, when health stuff comes up, when you're traveling, like, who's holding your business? That's the gift of this, of understanding funnels, automation, the thing that we think is so broy and markety and all this kind of stuff. It's not. It's the most feminine thing you can do. And so as you're in this season, I can't help but just pour my heart out to you. I'm so feeling you in this moment, because it's so conflicting of how do I do this? Your self-identity, your self-concept is known around high vibe and leadership and power and regulation and thoughtfulness and authority. Like, it's just so much that you have built for yourself. And then something happened that has shifted the way you see the world. And now you don't really know which way is up. And you know the past way that you've done it, and it works. And it's worked in your relationships, it's worked in your health, it's worked in your finances. But you can't pretend like what has happened didn't just wake you up and shake you alive and realize it's not fully you anymore. And so you want to be able to grow something that evolves with you. You want to be able to evolve, right? That's the whole point. That's why you guys talk about personal brand here. But I feel you in that, because it's so hard to let go of something that's working, whether it is a relationship. It's like, that works, but we're not growing together. Whether that's your business, it works, but it's not growing with me. Whether it's your health, it works, but it's not sustainable. It's not growing with me. It's so hard to let go of something that worked and know that there's something better on the horizon, because it's the blind faith. And this is when it's so important, the support systems, the teams, the knowing your why, knowing your passions, knowing the non-negotiables, giving yourself grace. Like, this is so important in that season, because you have to be able to feel this. I really, really wish, hard times were just like a day. I really, really wish it was a few hours. It was a high five and I'm sorry and we're done. But it's not. Some things are, but a lot of things aren't. The higher you go, the more open your heart is, the more things usually test you. And because you're so open, it hurts a little bit more. And so I just want to validate your feelings. Like, it's very normal to not fucking know what to do. I really wish more people had these conversations. It is so normal to be like, I literally don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I want. I don't know how to speak about it anymore, because I can't pretend that all of that stuff is right. But like, to me, truly, that is true leadership. If you don't come back to me next year and go, I've rethought everything I said and I was wrong. If you don't say things like that, you haven't evolved and grown. I've looked back at statements, I look back at systems, I look back at things that I said, and I'm like, I don't know shit. I didn't know shit because I didn't have a deep awakening yet. And I'm going to have these things happen 1,000 more times. And so are you. Maybe not hurricanes. Let's hope not. But there's going to be big, unexpected life events that shake up your perception of your reality. And instead of trying to fight that, can you welcome it? Can you show up in your leadership? Can you let that be part of the brand? Can you let that be part of your evolution? Can you let that be part of how you show up? So many of you are so caught in being the authority, of having it all together, of being perfect, that you're not actually letting people know, like, hey, I literally have no fucking clue what I'm doing, but I'm going to try. And that is authority. There's a way to do it. You would have never guessed right now I'm going through something unless I told you. But because I know my authority and I know that I can compartmentalize and I can walk with duality and I know my leadership skills, I can do both. If you're struggling in that department, it's really your time to look at what is your leadership skills. Sometimes that is the authority, knowing it all perfect version. But sometimes that's the vulnerable. Truly, the most powerful thing about you is your open heart and knowing the difference about trauma spilling and here's how I'm leading myself through it. Two different things. Without giving too much context, without needing validation, without needing these types of things, it's literally just sharing, this is how I'm walking through it. Everything I have, every story I walk myself through, I know it's a story for you guys later. So how do I want to lead myself through my stuff? How do I want to tell you that in the darkest night of my life, years ago, I showed up and I built a business. I did it wrong, I did it messy, but I did it. I showed up every day. Every freaking day. I ran workshops and ultimately led to this huge career that led me here with you right now. When I've gone through things in my relationship and I didn't even want to get dressed, I was here. I put my makeup on. I smiled. And I taught you what I went through. I knew in those moments, how do I want to respond? Because I know one day my client is going to go through this. Something in the podcast is going to come up. One of my staff is going to go through this. I'm going to have to walk someone through this because I know my life is not meant for nothing. So how am I going to be the leader through this moment? How are you the leader in this moment? I know it's hard to show up. I know things are messy. I know it's so confusing in this world, especially as you're claiming big things. You are going to be tested as heck. How do you want to tell that story of your leadership, of how you got through it, of how you showed up, of how you saw the story through a completely different lens because it was a story that you were going to tell your future daughter, your future client, your future online presence? That is how you show up. Stop making it about you, your past, your pain, and start speaking to the leader within yourself, the leader and the lover, the open-hearted, the vulnerable, the I'm scared, I don't have a fucking clue what's going to happen next, but I'm in. Here's what I'm doing. Here's how I'm supporting myself through it. Here's my nervous system work. Here's my community work. Here's the reality of the situation of claiming big things in the world. You're going to be tested. Watch me show you what I do next. That's what you do. You're not meant to play small. You're not meant to be the victim anymore. Focus. Focus on your power. Focus on the things that bring you your power. Remember who the fuck you are. Remember, it's okay to wobble. It's not, this whole game isn't, oh, I fell off. It's how long did you stay off? And can you start collapsing the time in that? Because it's not that I don't fall. I've been falling for weeks. But I bounce up. I put my big pants on, my big girl pants, and I show up here because I have a duty with you, because I love you, and I have a story to tell eventually. So I love you and I see your heart, and I'm here to remind you of your power, because you're bigger than this. You're bigger than any circumstance that you've ever gone on. And it's really, really tapping into that. Like, God doesn't fuck shit up. You were going through this for a goddamn reason. It is to either teach you or grow you. Usually both. Take the opportunity and do that. Don't shut yourself down. Don't isolate. Don't dismiss the lesson that you are being gifted. Rise to the occasion and find your leadership. Let me know how this landed for you over on Instagram. My Instagram is it's Laura Patricia Martin. So @ITS Laura Patricia Martin. It's a big one. This is a vulnerable one. And I love you to bits. You are going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Be gentle. Give yourself grace. And then put your lipstick on. Okay? I love you. If this landed for you, it'd mean the world to me if you went and wrote a review. I'm really, really working on scaling this podcast, and it's just the greatest gift. So go scroll down, rate this, give it a 5-star review, write in the captions if you're on Apple or anywhere that you listen to this, and give us that 5-star review, and make sure that you subscribe. It really helps us get new people on this podcast every single week and just grow this thing and blow this thing out of the water. So thank you in advance, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.